I saw Latina Mera again after 5 years at my brother's wedding. She was the bride. I was the groomsman. My brother pulled me aside, grinning ear to ear as he shared their love story. She was in a car accident, and I was the one who saved her. Heard she had a fiancé, but I took her abroad that same night for treatment. He clapped me on the back. Pretty slick move, huh? Jason Smith kept talking, excited as ever, but I couldn't hear a word he said. All I could hear was a harsh, piercing ring in my ears. 5 years, almost 2,000 days and nights. The woman I loved most had been hidden away by the person I trusted the most. I bent over, gasping for air, trembling uncontrollably. Jason noticed something was wrong and quickly helped me into the lounge. "Luke," he asked cautiously, "is it your depression again?" Over these 5 years, I'd searched everywhere for Latina. I asked around, posted flyers, bought trending spots on social media. Even her family gave up. But I didn't. Through countless sleepless nights, I stood at the edge of roads, wondering if it was time to end it all. And now? Turns out I was the punchline in a joke I didn't know I was part of. I stared at the scars on my right hand lines from old cuts that had healed and reopened over time. My eyes burned. My chest ached like it was being torn apart. Jason sighed. "Still thinking about your ex-fiancé? Let it go. It's been so long, she's probably dead." He tried to lighten the mood. "I'll get Jeannie Ann's bestie to set you up. She's a real catch." No sooner had he finished than Latina walked in, a vision in her designer wedding dress. It hugged her slim waist, and her striking features hadn't changed a bit since 5 years ago. Our eyes met. She looked at me flatly, like a stranger, and turned to fix Jason's suit. Her bridesmaids followed behind, all familiar faces from back then. Most of them I recognized. They saw me and paused, like they wanted to say something but didn't. A moment ago, I could have convinced myself maybe she had amnesia, that was why she didn't recognize me. But the looks on her friends' faces told me the truth. She remembered everything. She just didn't love me anymore. Jason nudged her. "Babe, tell your friends to stay after the ceremony. Let's have some real fun tonight." Latina gave a casual nod and didn't look my way again. Like I was nobody. I slowly closed my eyes, feeling my heart being clenched, ripped out, and thrown into a fire. I'd never hurt like this before. I needed something, anything, to release this madness inside. I got up, stormed into the bathroom, and slammed my forehead against the wall. A dull thud. Then blood trickled down, warm and red. My body swayed, vision blurred. I slid to the floor, leaning against the wall, the pain stabbing deeper with each breath. I started hitting my head against the wall, over and over, as if that might give me some relief. The pain in my chest was unbearable, like knives pressing from the inside out. I curled into myself and laughed bitterly. "Latina, so you really don't want me anymore?" By the time I left the bathroom, the wedding had already started. Jason, seeing my state, had someone else fill in for me. I stood at the far edge of the room, watching Latina on stage, her smile glowing as she said, "I do." Jason knelt solemnly and slid the ring onto her finger. And just like that, jealousy stabbed through my chest. I wanted to charge up there and stop the whole thing. To shout at Jason, how could he steal my fiancée? How could he hide her away? Why had he made me search for her all these years? I wanted to ask Latinoe pretend not to know me. Why didn't she come find me? Why did everyone keep this from me? I wanted to destroy that wedding, but I didn't. I just sat in a corner. When the vows ended, I was the first to clap loud and sharp, drawing stares from every direction. I didn't care. I looked straight at Latina. When her eyes met mine, my nose stung, and the tears I'd held back finally fell. Her brow twitched ever so slightly. Then she turned away, eyes calm and emotionless. I clenched my fists hard. I think I was losing my mind. I picked up my phone and typed a message. Latina, I hope you have a miserable marriage. I curse you. May you never get what you want in this life. Then I laughed at myself. She was already married to the one she loved. My curse meant nothing. I didn't stick around for the rest of the wedding. I left. I was afraid I'd snap if I stayed. 3 years ago, when Latina's trail went cold again, I tried to kill myself, but I failed. A neighbor found me and took me to the hospital. When I woke up, Mrs. Song held my hand through tears, begging me to live on for Latina. But a world without her is too cruel. We met when we were 6, fell in love in high school, got our marriage license right after college. We picked an auspicious date, but she got into a car crash on the way there and vanished. I went to the police countless times, questioned every bystander from the scene. Not one had seen her, and now she's back, but she doesn't love me anymore. I passed out at some point. When I woke again, my phone showed missed calls from Jason and messages from Mrs. Song offering comfort. One message stood out, a cold, single word: leave. I let out a bitter laugh. Turns out, all my clinging meant nothing to her. Just a bad joke. I shut myself away completely. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. I drank to numb the nights. 10 days in, I hadn't stepped outside. My body wasted away until it was all bones. That's when Jason showed up, dragging Latina behind him. I hadn't bathed in 10 days. I could smell myself. Jason didn't care. He punched me square in the chest and hauled me toward the hospital. I knew what he feared. I shook him off coldly. I'm fine, thanks. I didn't know how to face him hate or gratitude. Neither felt right, so I tried to distance myself. He didn't push, just sighed. Dude, can you answer your damn phone? What's the point of buying one if you don't use it? I thought you were dead. Then seriously, from today on, me and my girl are moving in with you. We'll take care of you till you're better. If you want to say no, choke it down and fart it out instead. That was Jason. Loyal, loud, full of heart, and he adored his wife. No wonder Latina fell for him. I looked at her, standing behind him, cold gaze, almond eyes narrowing slightly, like she didn't know me. Even if she was as distant as the moon, even if she was never mine again, I still yearned for her warmth. Just one more glance, one more moment, one more second would be enough. I don't know if it was Jason's care or my selfish longing, but I let them move in. This apartment, this was meant to be our marital home. I decorated it in her favorite style after she disappeared. Every piece of furniture, every color, just how she liked it. Jason looked around, wide-eyed. Damn, Luke. Pink and white everywhere? Bro, this place looks nothing like you. I replied softly. Because it was all for my fiancée. Jason frowned. Man, you gotta have your own opinions. You can't just do everything for her. My wife? I call the shots on decor. Place looks badass. I even make her sleep on gray sheets. I lowered my gaze. Back when we first moved in together, I loved dark tones. Everything I bought was black sheets, cups, toothbrushes, even her underwear, but she never wore them. Refused to sleep on the bed. Chose the floor instead. I only got her back in bed after I changed the colors. I froze for a second and asked, almost masochistically, "Oh, yeah? Does she ever sleep on the floor?" Jason, ever proud, snorted and glanced at Latina. She wouldn't dare. She's all about black panties now. Latina's face flushed. She tapped him lightly on the head to shut him up. "What's wrong with gray sheets?" he continued. "If your fiancée made you sleep on the floor for that, then she didn't love you enough, and you went and searched for her for years. What the hell were you thinking?" After a long silence, I nodded. "You're right. Maybe she really didn't love me enough." I felt her gaze fall on me for a second. Then she said coolly, "Then Mr. Zhou should know when to back off. Don't mess with someone else's life. If you can, just disappear for good. All this self-pity only makes people resent you more." Her words were brutal, cutting deep. Self-pity, so that's all this was. I couldn't hold it back. My eyes went red. "You know her so well. Is it because you're the same kind of person? Good at vanishing, making people wait, draining every ounce of hope without a single apology? And now you say I'm being dramatic? What about the 5 years I lost? Do they just not count?" Latina frowned and snapped back. "No one asked you to wait. Love or hate it was your choice. You decided to wait, so you deal with the consequences." "You think just because you waited 5 years she owes you her life? You want gratitude in marriage for that?" Her voice was cold, final. I stood frozen, watching every bit of hope I had crumble. Tears burst from my eyes. Her words were knives, but she was right. Love and hate were choices. No one forced me to wait. No one promised me anything. This ending was mine alone to bear. The love I thought would last forever had faded into nothing. Jason noticed things were spiraling and rushed over to pull her into their room. I heard his voice through the doorlow pleading, "Babe, ease up. Luke's in a bad place. Don't be so harsh, okay? Don't push him too far." Latina sneered, her voice laced with mockery. "He's just putting on a show." I stood there, numb and silent. The cut on my forehead throbbed like it was laughing at how foolishly one-sided I'd been. After that argument, I barely saw Latina. Maybe she was avoiding me on purpose. Even though we were under the same roof for half a month, we only crossed paths a handful of times. I became even quieter, spending most of my time alone in my room. Jason, on the other hand, kept me company, often ordering different takeout every day, and nagging me to take my meds. Selfishly, I wished he wouldn't be so kind. The more considerate he was, the less right I had to feel jealous. It made me realize I was just the third wheel secretly coveting someone else's wife. But how could I possibly accept this? I was jealous of the way Latina smiled at him, the way she was sweet to him. I even wished I could gouge out my own eyes. Shamefully, I'd once thought maybe if Latina had died out there, I could still lie to myself. I started spending more time in the living room, just in case I could catch a glimpse of her when she came back. But it was like she sensed it days past, and she never showed up. I couldn't hold it in anymore and asked Jason, "Where is she?" He was lounging on the couch, texting and grinning like an idiot. "Oh, she hasn't been back in 3 years, right? Her family has a lot going on. So, she's been tied up with stuff lately." I froze. "Latina came back 3 years ago?" I asked, disbelief in my voice. Why didn't I know? "Yeah," he said casually. "She came back to plan our wedding." My lips parted, but no words came out. All I could think was she came back. She came back. My body went cold. I wanted to scream, but all that came out was a hoarse gasp. Jason's words hit like a slap across the face. Then he jumped up, excited. "Luke, quick, get dressed. We're heading to Moonview. My wife wants me to introduce you to someone. I just saw the photo dam. She's hot." He dragged me back into my room, helping me change at lightning speed. I let him, because I wanted to see Latina. When we got there, Jason immediately sat beside Latina and shot me a look, nudging me to be bold. I said nothing, just found a seat and quietly sat down. From where I sat, I could see every little movement she made. Her lips curved into a smile as Jason teased her. In the dim lighting, his long fingers lazily played at her waist. Latina let out a soft yelp, then tried to bite him. Jason pinned her hands and kissed her deeply. It was passionate too much. I turned away, unable to watch any longer. My hands clenched under the table. I lowered my head, and this time, I couldn't hold it back. The tears came fast, like the last dam inside me had broken. In this relationship, Latina had left without a word, but I was the one still trapped inside it. For a brief second, I felt grateful the room was so dark at least no one would see how pathetic I looked. I turned my head and was surprised to lock eyes with someone smiling at me. Isabel Lopez raised her brows slightly, a smug look on her face. "Hey there, bathtub neighbor who liked his red baths." My eyelid twitched. 3 years ago, it was her who'd broken down my door and got me to the hospital. She'd stayed by my side for a week, though every word out of her mouth was laced with sarcasm and sharp barbs. Any gratitude I'd once felt toward her had cooled considerably. After that, even when we ran into each other in the elevator, I couldn't be bothered to speak. Isabel went on. 4 years of being neighbors and now you're pretending not to know me? I frowned. No, about last time, thank you. She smirked, arching a brow, and lowered her voice to mimic mine. Wow, you've really got that noble amnesia going on, huh? Took you 3 years to say thanks? I should charge interest. She leaned in. So tell me, how are you planning to repay me? Isabel scooted closer, her thigh brushing against my pants. I could smell her perfume sweet and heady. Her voice teased, "How about crying in my arms for starters? I'll collect a little down payment." My hand trembled slightly. I didn't want to engage. Honestly, her personality didn't suit her name at all. I looked up back at Latina. She was staring too. In her bright eyes, I caught a flicker of something mockery. I let out a bitter laugh. So this was her plan? To shove me at someone else so I'd finally let her go? I laughed at myself. How could I still hope for anything? The answer had always been right in front of me. What was I still clinging to? This absurd matchmaking dinner ended 5 years of delusion. After the drinks, Latina tossed me a room key to the top floor. Her lips curled, eyes gleaming with contempt. You've been lonely long enough. Time to blow off some steam. Isabel's got the body, she'll keep you satisfied. She leaned in close, her voice low. But tell me, can you even find her sweet spot? I stared at her, just stared for a long, long time. Latina, I give up. If this is what you want, I won't fight it. I took the key and went upstairs, into Isabel's room. She was half reclined on the bed, eyeing me sideways. So, she's the one you've been searching 5 years for? I was surprised, but then again, not really. Everyone in our circle knew I'd been looking for Latina. Of course it would have reached her ears. Yeah. Isabel tossed her jacket off, annoyed. So that's why you've been walking around like a sad sack. I frowned. What's wrong with the way I look? You've got a face like your wife just died. For once I agreed with her. Yeah, she did. Isabel gave a lazy smile and blinked slowly, her usual playfulness replaced by something a little more serious. Luke, I'm not a good woman. You can use me, lean on me, whatever. Her tone shifted. But the second you stepped into this room, you should have known what that meant. The implication was crystal clear. I nodded, then reached for her. We climbed to the peak together. I had held it in for too long since the wedding, since I learned Jason had taken her, since I found out she came back 3 years ago and let me rot in despair. I'd already gone mad. I gave in completely, pulling Isabel into the chaos. We holed up in that hotel room for 3 days and 3 nights, lost in each other. I asked myself, do I still love her? Do I still miss her? The answer, I love her. but I don't miss her anymore. On the fourth day, Isabel and I got dressed and went our separate ways. The moment I got home, Jason rushed over, buzzing with curiosity. "So, how was it?" We tried everything, every position, every way. We were perfectly in sync. My body was covered in red marks and bruises. Jason's eyes widened. "Holy shit! I knew you had it in you, but damn, you really went all out. Is there even a single unclaimed inch on her body left?" I said nothing. I could feel a cold, piercing gaze crawling over me. I met Latina's disapproving eyes and gave her a crooked smile. "Tell your wife," I said thanks. "Thanks for crushing the last of my hope." With that, I turned toward my room. As I passed the living room, Latina suddenly stood up. Her eyes burned with jealousy, her face clouded with rage. "Don't make him say it for you. I'm right here. Thank me yourself." I turned to face her and said flatly, "Thank you." I had no desire to argue. I turned to leave, but she stepped forward and grabbed my arm. I twisted my wrist, but she held on tight. I didn't want to hurt her, so I didn't struggle too hard. I frowned and gave her a look. "Jason's right there. Don't push it." But she ignored it and leaned in even closer, her voice low in my ear. "Thank me for scratching your itch," she whispered. "Looks like she really wore you out. Must have been tough holding it in for 5 years. If she can't handle it, you can always come to me. Don't worry. I'll use my hands. Because frankly, you disgust me." In that moment, I felt like I'd been plunged into ice. My heart sank. She didn't spare me a shred of dignity. Her words cut deep, leaving me completely exposed. She was the one who didn't want me. She pushed me toward Isabel. So why did she always act like I was the one who betrayed her? I couldn't take it anymore. I ripped my arm away and shoved her back. Mindful of Jason, I kept my voice low. "Latina, you keep humiliating me like this because you think I can't let you go. But now I can." I was done. Jason jumped in, standing between us, his tone sharp. "Luke, what the hell, why are you pushing my wife?" I looked at him and felt an overwhelming exhaustion. I turned and walked away. But I still heard his voice rising behind me. "Didn't I tell you not to provoke him? He's been unhinged lately. But seriously, what the hell did you say to him? Why get that close? I'm your husband, remember?" Latina said nothing. She just stared, unblinking, as I walked out. After that, Jason barely spoke to me for days. My feelings toward him were complicated. He was my best friend, the one who stayed up all night to talk me out of ending it all. He flew home the moment he sensed something was wrong. He didn't betray me outright, but he hurt me in the worst way. My 5 years in helmy despair, my helplessness were all because of him. He fell for Latina and took her away for 5 whole years. He knew she had a fiancé and still came between us. So really, who trespassed into whose world? I'm not a generous man. I can't bless them. And I didn't want to be the extra wheel in their perfect little life anymore. So the next time Jason mocked me for pushing Latina, I said it bluntly. "You two should move out." Jason froze, then exploded. "You're kicking us out? Because I said a couple words to you? What? All the shit I've done for you the past few days meant nothing? You're the one who laid hands on my wife, and I let that go. But now you're acting all high and mighty? Luke, are you just gonna be crazy forever or what? No wonder you've got depression. No wonder your fiancé left your ass. Shit. If she stayed with you, she'd have lost her damn mind too." I stayed quiet and let him unload. Let him curse, might was fine. At least that way, whatever guilt I felt toward him was completely gone. When he finally ran out of breath, I said calmly, "Jason, let's never see each other again. Move out today." I didn't wait for his reply. I walked out the door and headed next door. Funny, really. Over the past 5 years, I'd lost every friend I had. They all thought I was crazy. No one wanted anything to do with me except Jason. I knocked on Isabel's door, expecting to see her, but a half-naked man answered instead. He looked like he'd just woken up, groggy and annoyed. "Who are you?" I hesitated, then asked. "Is Isabel here?" He pointed behind him. "Sleeping. You want to come in?" My throat tightened. I knew Isabel wasn't the loyal type, but still having another guy while she had me? I couldn't handle it. I backed off. "No, that's fine." I turned and headed downstairs, and that's when it hit me how sad it all was. I had nowhere to go. During those 5 years of searching, even my parents begged me to give up. I didn't, so they stopped trying too. Now, the only place I could call home was occupied by 2 people I couldn't bear to see. My phone rang over and over. Jason mostly. 1 missed call from Isabel. I didn't answer either. I opened WeChat. Jason had sent a bunch of 60-second voice messages. He knew I wouldn't listen. So the last one was a text. "You scared my wife and kid. Come back and apologize." I might forgive you. He was offering me a way out, but I didn't want it. I typed 1 word, calm and steady. Leave. Should I congratulate them? I couldn't. Not 5 years from now. Not 10. Not even on my deathbed. I would never forgive them, let alone their child. If I could forgive everything, then those 5 years would mean nothing. Just one big joke. I stayed out till 3 a.m. before finally going home. Jason hadn't moved out yet. After showering and lying in bed, Isabel called. I hesitated for a second before answering. "Come out." "It's late," I said flatly. "Let's talk tomorrow." If she had someone else, there was no point in continuing. Isabel laughed. "Oh, but you didn't mind using me when it suited you, huh? Now you're done and ready to ghost me?" I had no comeback. After a moment's thought, I grabbed my coat and went out. Isabel was leaning against the wall, a cigarette dangling between her long fingers. When she saw me, she flicked it away and yanked me into the stairwell. She shoved me against the wall, pulling my coat off as she rained kisses down my neck. My breathing grew heavier. Just as she tried to take it further, I grabbed her wandering hand. "If you have another man, don't come to me. I don't share." She didn't stop, lips brushing my skin as she murmured, "Who else do I have?" I pressed my lips together, debating whether to mention what I'd seen earlier. If I stayed silent, she wouldn't stop. If I said it, I'd sound petty. Just another man getting jealous over a woman that wasn't his. Did it really matter who else she slept with? I stayed quiet. Isabel suddenly spun me around, facing away from her, and swiftly pulled down my pants. Her tone was teasing. "You saw someone else at my place today got jealous?" I froze for a moment. "So, she knew." Then I shook my head. "Not jealous. I just don't like sharing a body I'm quite satisfied with." Her eyes narrowed before she let out a dry laugh. "Well, I'm satisfied with my oversized toy." My face flushed. Before I could say anything, she yanked me inside. I didn't leave her place until nearly sunrise only, to find Latina sitting silently on the couch. The lights were off. The room was pitch black. It was only by moonlight that I saw the faint outline of her figure. I was surprised but said nothing. Though the room was dark, I could feel her eyes cutting through me like blades. In the thick silence, I could almost hear the tension creaking in her joints. She shot up and marched over, her voice sharp, a storm in the making. "You did it again?" "Luke, are you really that desperate for a woman?" It was almost laughable. She'd handed me the room key. Didn't she know what would happen? I looked at her, her face close enough to see the madness burning in her eyes. After a long pause, I finally asked, Latina, did you come back 3 years ago? That question had haunted me for years. I couldn't let it go. She didn't answer instead. She snapped, full of rage. Answer me. Did you sleep with her again? What? You gonna die without a woman? Do you not get it? Just because I married Jason doesn't mean I stopped loving you. If you wanted me, you could have just said so. I would have given myself to you. Why do you keep going back to Isabel? She shoved me onto the couch and straddled me. I frowned, ready to protest, but she kissed me hard before I could speak. I clamped my mouth shut, refusing to respond. She was out of her mind. Jason was just a room away. If he opened that door, he'd see everything. But Latina didn't care. Not one bit. For a split second, a twisted thought flashed through my mind. Maybe this was justice. Maybe if he suffered too, things would finally be fair. My hand moved to deepen the kiss. But the next second, I yanked myself back. Jason didn't deserve to become another me. I turned to speak, and the lights came on. I looked up. Jason stood in the doorway. I had no idea how long he'd been there. Silence fell over the room like a death knell. Latina stood slowly, wiped her lips, and smiled like nothing had happened. You're up? Jason's gaze was venomous. Great timing, huh? Did I ruin your fun? He turned to me, voice trembling with fury. Have I not done enough for you? You even stole my woman and she's carrying my kid. I brought her here to take care of you, right after our wedding. And this is how you repay me? I always knew this day would come. I just didn't expect it to happen like this. And I couldn't even muster much guilt. I stood and said evenly, I never stole your woman. You stole mine. That denial pushed him over the edge. Jason stormed over and punched me in the face. You think I'm blind? Your fiancé dies. And instead of moving on, you crawl into Isabel's bed? Middle of the damn night. Sitting in the dark, what the hell did you think I'd assume? He'd hit me with everything he had. Blood pooled at the corner of my mouth. I tasted it, metallic and sharp. I raised a hand, then dropped it. This punch? Consider it payment for everything he did for me in those 5 years. I looked at Latina, a sneer tugging at my lips. Not gonna calm your husband down? She looked between us, shame flickering in her eyes. Let's go home. I'll explain everything. Jason's face was thunderous. What kind of explanation could fix this betrayal? You're the man I love. He's my best friend. Did you ever think about today when you two started sneaking around behind my back? I let out a bitter laugh. Betrayal? I was the one betrayed. Twice over. No, it wasn't the same. I was kept in the dark, lied to, played like a fool for 5 years. Latina's brow twitched like she was afraid of what I might say next. She grabbed Jason and dragged him out. The suffocating air finally lifted. I wasn't the one at fault. I'd held out long enough. But why? Why was it always me, paying the price? After that day, Jason and I never spoke again. I packed Latina's things and mailed them to her. I didn't ask about her. Didn't care to know how she explained everything to Jason. Isabel, on the other hand, made me retell the whole incident. Then she handed me a toothbrush and made me scrub for 3 hours until my gums bled. I couldn't taste anything for days. I wanted to stop, but she didn't say a word, just kept squeezing toothpaste. Scrub harder. I don't want her scent on you. Not even a trace. I sighed and obeyed. I moved in with Isabel. On moving day, I saw Latina downstairs. It was the first time I'd seen her since she left with Jason. Funny 5 years of obsession. And not once this past week had I thought of her. I looked into her eyes, They were red-rimmed, filled with pain and something close to regret. Her voice was hoarse. I did come back 3 years ago. I looked for you, but Isabel answered your phone. In that moment, I hated you. I'd only been gone 2 years, and you already had someone new, so I left again. Seeing you at the wedding, I felt this twisted sense of revenge. That's why I said yes to Jason. I looked down and said coldly, "Do you want to know why Isabel answered my phone 3 years ago?" She stared at me, her throat tightening. I met her gaze and said, slowly and clearly, "I had depression. I tried to kill myself. I slit my wrists in the bathtub because I couldn't find you. Isabel was the one who found me. She got me to the hospital. I was there for 10 days. Latina's eyes widened in disbelief. Her pregnant belly trembled slightly. After a long silence, she whispered, "Luke, will you wait for me? I'm pregnant. He saved me. I can't leave him right now. But once I give birth, I'll divorce him. We can go back to how things were. Please?" I smiled sadly and shook my head. "Latina, it's over. I'm moving on, and I hope you never show up in my life again. If on your wedding day, you had looked me in the eye and asked if I was okay, I would have waited forever. But now, never again." Latina kept her promise. Never appeared again. I thought this apartment was cursed. I moved with Isabel to my private villa. She asked me why. As I tossed my meds into the trash, I raised a brow and smirked. Too dark. Doesn't suit me anymore. I don't need those pills either. Her lips curled into a soft smile. I smiled back. When Latina was 3 months pregnant, Jason reached out again. I met him one last time. 2 months apart, and he hadn't changed, still arrogant as ever. His eyes were cold. He spoke first. "I know now Latina was the woman you spent 5 years searching for. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't apologize. It's not my fault he couldn't keep his girl. I just went after what I wanted." "I don't think I was wrong." "But it was you, Luke." "I didn't know she was yours." "Yeah, maybe it wasn't the most ethical. But if you don't forgive me, Latina won't forgive me either. And I love her." I said nothing, just watched him. Jason clenched his fists. His voice softened for the first time. "I'm sorry. I love her. And my kid needs a mom. Once she gives birth, she'll always be with me. I saved her. If I never mention divorce, she'll never leave. Please, for those 5 years I helped you, can you forgive me?" I didn't answer, just stared at him. Jason had once been loud, bold, and loyal. He swore he'd never love anyone that much. And now, because of Latina, he'd bowed his head. I used to love Latina to madness and hated Jason for taking her. But now, he was just like I once was. Latina had become his madness. I gave him the apartment, the one I decorated just for her. I didn't need it anymore. Consider it a gift for their child. Forgiveness? I don't think I'll ever give it. A year later, Isabel and I got married. The weather was perfect. It should have taken 30 minutes to get there, but I took an hour and a half. She nearly snapped at me more than once. The registration process should have taken 10 minutes. I dragged it out for 30. She finally lost it. "If you don't want to get married, don't," I smirked. "Can't I savor the moment?" She took a deep breath and let me have my way. When we walked out, I had a warm red booklet in hand. For a moment, I felt dazed. The last time I was here, I got the news of Latina's accident. 6 years later, I came back marrying someone else. 2 years later, Isabel gave me a daughter. I adored her. We named her Julia Dawson. Isabel once asked if the name had any special meaning. I looked at her for a long time and said, teasingly, "I like you." She smiled. Well, I like you too.